Beneath the painting of the two girls, it wrote a caption. One of them would die today, but which one? Sophie saw the horror in Agatha's face. It's lying, Aggie. It's not the real story. It's not the Storian. But Agatha was dead right, her eyes darting around the room. This is how it's happened before. What? He wanted us to find this, Sophie, just like we did then. You're not making any sense. This is how we met the schoolmaster. We found the pen and book on the table. The pen was drawing a picture of us that looked exactly like this one. Sophie, don't you remember? Agatha backed away from the storybook. We were alone in a strange room just like this. We were standing just like this. The Storian began our fairy tale in front of our eyes, and then we heard the schoolmaster say behind us. It must suspect a good ending, a voice echoed. The two girls froze. The voice came from behind them. Agatha, the pen that writes the truth. Agatha gripped Sophie's palm. The voice was low and crisp, definitely a man's. Holding tight, the two girls turned. At first, Agatha couldn't see anyone, the map room as quiet and deserted as when they came in. Then she saw him. He was camouflaged into a pillar, hanging upside down, his body covered in the same shiny green scales as the rest of the room. His pose was like Alice's, legs in a crouch, his torso flat against the column, with one hand outstretched and cupping the stone. Agatha could only make him out because of the rays of his unblinking eyes, glaring white at her, ice blue at the center. Sophie squeezed Agatha harder. Agatha knew why. Raffle had those eyes. He slithered down the column, his scales undulating along greenstone like a snake through grass, his eyes never leaving the girls. As his hands touched the floor and he rose to stand, the scales on his body magically turned black, becoming slug black armor from neck to toe. He had Raffle's long and lean body, like a teenager's rather than a man's, muscles throbbing against his supple, skin-tight suit. His face, however, stayed green, his features obscured by the smooth, thick scales that shrouded his face like the schoolmaster's mask. As Agatha watched him come closer, her heart jumped. The scales on his face and body were moving. They reported in gooey, wave-like ribbons that looked strangely similar to the pen writing in the storybook on the table. Only now there were hundreds of these scaly strips like a mass of eels, crisscrossing up and down, right and left, as if his body was made out of them. From the way Sophie was crushing Agatha's hand, it was clear she was seeing this too. Waffle? Sophie whispered. He circled them quietly, his well-built chest rising and falling with his breath, his scales gleaming in the green torchlight, until he spoke again. Once upon a time, two girls wanted to find their way home. This was how your fairy tale began. All along, the pen sensed the good ending. Why else would he choose two readers to become legends? His blue eyes sparkled through his mask. And what an ending it was! One girl becomes Goose next queen, the other becomes Evil's future, and the boy they each loved becomes Camelot's lion. He sounds like Waffle too, Agatha thought. But how? The schoolmaster was dead, his corpse shattered to ash by Tetro's sword. Her muscles knocked. Unless the sword being stuck in the stone reversed the spell. Unless Tetro's failing his tests brought Waffle back. Can a sword do that? But that's not how your story ends, he said, his tongue sharpening. He looked at Sophie. You're not Evil's future. He looked at Agatha. You're not Goose next queen. He looked up at the map with Tetro's name. And he's not Camelot's lion. He continued to circle. You won't believe me, of course, because you trust the historian, the pen that gave you a happy ending, the pen you think tells the truth. His shoulder grazed Agatha's arm, and she felt the eels on his body squiggle across her skin. She swallowed a scream. But just as there are two sides with good and evil, with boys and girls, with old and new, there are also two sides to the truth. And until now, there's only been one pen. A pen that says, I am the snake, come into the woods. I am the snake here to take down the lion. And you are the ones here to stop me. He approached the black pen dangling over its painting of the girls. But what if there was a new pen? A pen that told a different truth? The storybook rose into the air, tilting towards Agatha and Sophie. It began to flip backwards through pages. The captions beneath the paintings lit up in green glow. Agatha's heart fluttered as she saw a painting of Tetro's, safe and sound, gathered with Merlin, Professor Dove, Lancelot, and Guinevere at the dining table. But then she saw the caption.